The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Commander Marcus Chen stepped forward, his boots echoing against the crystalline floor. 7 different species sat in judgment, their various appendages, tentacles, and sensory organs focused on the lone human who had just accomplished what none of them thought possible. Impossible, whispered Zarathek, the Vorthan representative, her translucent blue skin flickering with nervous bioluminescence. The Void Wraiths have terrorized this sector for 3 millennia. Our greatest warriors flee at the mere whisper of their approach. High Counselor Threenox, a towering insectoid from the Kethmari hive, clicked his mandibles in agreement. The psychological warfare capabilities of the Wraiths are beyond comprehension. They project pure concentrated terror directly into the neural pathways of their victims. How did one human succeed where entire fleets have failed? Marcus stood at attention, his weathered face bearing the scars of countless battles. Behind him, through the massive viewport, the remnants of what had once been the most feared predatory force in the galaxy drifted as lifeless debris. The Void Wraiths, ancient beings of living shadow and nightmare, were no more. "You want to know how I beat fear?" Marcus asked, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's long, brutal history. "It's simple. We name it, then we kill it." The council members exchanged uncertain glances. Ambassador Veltar of the peaceful Lumenis spoke first, her melodious voice trembling slightly. "We do not understand human, Marcus. Fear is not a physical entity. It cannot be killed." A rare smile crossed Marcus's lips. "That's where you're wrong, Ambassador. See, my people have been dealing with fear for a very long time, longer than most species have existed." He began to pace slowly before the council, his hands clasped behind his back. "Millions of years ago, when we were still primitive creatures hiding in caves, we were afraid of the dark. We were afraid of the sounds in the night, the predators with bigger teeth and sharper claws. But instead of just being afraid, we did something different." "What did you do?" asked Counselor Nephis, the aquatic Titlean's gills fluttering with curiosity. "We gave our fears names," Marcus replied. "The thing that hunted us in the darkness? We called it tiger, bear, wolf, and once we named it, something changed. It wasn't just terror anymore. It was a specific problem with a specific solution." The Vorthan representative leaned forward. "But naming does not eliminate the threat." "No," Marcus agreed, "but it eliminates the power of the unknown. Once we named the tiger, we could study it, learn its habits, find its weaknesses, and then—" He made a simple gesture, drawing his finger across his throat. "We killed it." High Counselor Threenox's compound eyes focused intently on the human. "But the Void Wraiths are not mere predators. They are beings of pure psychic terror. They feed on fear itself." "Exactly," Marcus nodded, "which is why most species can't fight them effectively. You try to overcome fear with courage, with technology, with numbers. But fear isn't something you overcome, it's something you dissect." He stopped pacing and faced the council directly. "When I encountered the Void Wraiths, I didn't try to be brave. I did what humans do. I named my fear." "How does one name terror itself?" Ambassador Veltar asked, genuinely perplexed. Marcus's expression grew serious. "I called it childhood trauma. I called it fear of death. I called it abandonment issues and performance anxiety and imposter syndrome. I gave every shade of terror a specific name, because that's what we humans have been doing for thousands of years." The chamber was completely still now, every being hanging on his words. "You see, the Wraiths are powerful because they project raw, unfocused fear. But humans, we've cataloged our fears. We've written books about them, made movies about them, created entire fields of study around them. We have names for fears you didn't even know existed. Trypophobia, fear of holes. Megalophobia, fear of large things. Chronophobia, fear of time itself." Counselor Nephis's gills fluttered faster. "But naming does not make the fear less powerful, doesn't it?" Marcus challenged. "When something has a name, it becomes manageable. When we named our fear of the dark, we invented fire. When we named our fear of starvation, we invented agriculture. When we named our fear of disease, we invented medicine." He gestured toward the viewport. "The Void Wraiths tried to flood my mind with nameless terror. But there's no such thing as nameless terror to a human. Every fear they threw at me, I had a word for. And once I had words, I had power." "But how did you destroy them?" High Counselor Threenox pressed. Marcus's smile returned, grimmer this time. "Once I named each fear, I did what my species has always done. I hunted it down and killed it. not with weapons or ships, but with understanding. The wraiths are sustained by formless dread, but fear with a name, fear that's been categorized and studied and understood, that's not food to them, that's poison. The human straightened his shoulders. I didn't beat the void wraiths by being fearless. I beat them by being human. We don't conquer our fears, we domesticate them. We turn them into tools, stories, lessons for our children. We make them serve us. Ambassador Veltar spoke in an awed whisper. Your entire species weaponizes its own terror? We weaponize everything, Marcus replied matter-of-factly. That's what makes us human. We took our fear of falling and built flying machines. We took our fear of the unknown and built starships to explore it. We took our fear of death and built civilizations that outlast our individual lives. He looked at each council member in turn. The Void Wraiths made one crucial mistake. They assumed that fear was universal. But human fear isn't just an emotion, it's a catalyst. It's fuel. And today they learned what happens when you try to terrorize a species that turned terror into a tool for survival millions of years ago. The silence stretched for long moments before High Counselor Threnox finally spoke. How do we learn this in naming? Marcus grinned, and for the first time since entering the chamber he looked truly dangerous. That's easy, Counselor. First you tell me what scares you most. Then we give it a name. And then... He paused, his eyes reflecting the cold light of distant stars. Then we kill it.